What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Critical Overload here. We're going to be talking about a few different horror topics in this video here today. We'll be talking about Scream 7, Sorority Row 2, I Know What You Did Last Summer. We'll be talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the Conjuring Universe. Now, starting off here with Scream 7, Matthew Lillard made some comments about his return recently as Stu Macher to Deadline. He said this: "I will say I can't say anything about it, obviously, but I am very excited and slightly terrified to be back because all I can do is really screw up a legacy that we have. I could really suck, and so that's my fear. My fear is that I come back and sort of punish something that I could never have touched and been just fine. I hope I don't F it up for everyone." Now, many of you DM'd me saying this sounds like he's talking about the quality of the film. I don't think he's talking about the overall quality of the film as much as he's talking about nerves surrounding playing the character that he hasn't played in nearly 3 decades, and how it's kind of nerve-wracking and he's not so certain of himself back in the role, and how it will be received by fans when we see it. Yeah, I think that's the gist of what he's talking about. And like many of you also pointed out, the only person who could really F this up would be the creatives. And of course, that would include Kevin Williamson. That would include the writer, Guy Busick. Did you bring out the best in Matthew Lillard? How did you incorporate Stu Macher back into the narrative? It wouldn't all come down on Matthew. So I would say to him, don't stress about this too much. If there is an issue with this movie, I am going to take aim at those responsible for concocting the idea to bring you back. The idea that does not involve you being back alive, but still, they can still fumble this without him being back alive. As we all have been heard or have been hearing, the AI incorporation is the expected role of Stu Macher, and yeah, depending on how that's executed on screen, that could be a complete fumble, misfire, unnecessary, and a disservice to a character who, again, you didn't have to bring back, but you insisted. So yeah, we'll see what comes of that. But that's what he had to say. He's worried about how it will be received. That's my takeaway from his comments, not necessarily the overall quality about the film concerning him. So let's talk about Sorority Row 2. Sorority Row 2, which was announced some time ago, is still happening, according to Josh Stolberg. He replied to a fan on X, shout out to you, Juden, saying, "It's happening. Gotta get through my current movie first before we dive in full force. New film at Lionsgate shooting this summer, and they hold the rights to Sorority Row." So he's got to get that out of the way, then he'll be jumping into Sorority Row 2. Then he followed up to another fan saying, "Not even close. The next one will be a direct sequel, and then we have plans for a third to take place back when Miss Crenshaw was a student." Now, this, I don't know if he's serious about. If he is serious about it, then we already have an idea of the fact that there's a trilogy that we could possibly look forward to. Well, a third entry after Sorority Row 2. But I think this comment was done in a playful way. I've noticed Josh does tend to play around with fans a bit. That's just what I've noticed. He could be very serious. I'm just pointing something out. I don't think this is something to be taken too seriously. But not only is Sorority Row 2 happening, but you could have a Sorority Row 3 on the way. I'm not going to go into this too much, but Sorority Row's the biggest memory I have still to this day about Sorority Row recently is still related to Pretty Little Liars. I remember the resurgence of energy and excitement around that film because people were theorizing left and right that Ren is A. So everybody started watching Sorority Row. It was dug up. And then it started becoming way more popular than it was when I remember it dropping. And I think a lot of that had to do with the Ren is A theorists from Pretty Little Liars. For my Pretty Little Liars fans out there, you remember those days? Those were fun. Now, you let me know if you're looking forward to Sorority Row 2. Why or not down in the comment section below. What do you want to see in Sorority Row 2? So let's talk about I Know What You Did Last Summer. In the midst of my singular upload dedicated to the film, I failed to acknowledge what cryptic 4K quality shared us, who is a very reputable individual when it comes to trailers and information about when they could drop and other things related to movies. But the trailer should be releasing, or likely could be releasing, online this month. We know it was shown at CinemaCon, so we know that one exists, one is ready to be released to the public, and footage was shown at CinemaCon, so we're probably going to get to see that this month. Now, if we don't get to see it this month, then we just don't. But currently, one of the rumors surrounding when that trailer can drop online is sometime this month. Not May, not June, but April this month. My prediction would be, yes, it's going to be attached to Until Dawn. I think that would be the best way to go about this. They're going to attach it to the Until Dawn release when that comes out, since that's another Sony project, I believe, by David F. Sandberg. So when Sony's Until Dawn drops, that's when I can see us getting the first glimpse of what was shown at CinemaCon as it pertains to this teaser for I Know What You Did Last Summer. And the fact that a teaser is already prepared indicates that they have been editing this together despite needing to still film and do some reshoots earlier in this first quarter of 2025. I also want to share with you guys this theory surrounding I Know What You Did Last Summer. Do you think it's possible that what starts as an accident actually becomes a dirty deed by what we are going to learn are very privileged youths who had their whole lives ahead of them, and instead of facing their consequences, they didn't want to hold themselves accountable, but now someone else will? That's what I think is going to be the inverse here. See, the original group, you could argue Barry was the one that seemed a little bit selfish and self-indulgent, but these newbies, they're going to be far more guilty than the original group. They're going to purposely take someone out. Maybe they were a bit intoxicated and somebody knows this secret, and these are a group of people who have done other dirty deeds and they've never been held accountable. And now somebody is going to finally hold them accountable, bring what they did to the public eye, and go after Ray and Julie in the process, because maybe this person is familiar with what happened to Ben Willis and doesn't feel that Ray and Julie ever got punished the way they should have been punished. So that's just like an accessory to what they're going to be doing to these newbies. But we'll see what comes of that. Let me know what you think about that. I'm going to now talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So shout out to you. Happy horror time. You guys have been crushing it with your show. I saw you started a YouTube channel. I'll leave a link to this video in the description for you guys to watch. But Julie Benz shared with them in an interview that she would love to play Darla again in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer sequel series. Now, she was self-aware enough to acknowledge that she plays a vampire, and there probably would need to be some CGI de-aging technology utilized to make it make sense, because Darla is a vampire. Vampires are not supposed to age, and yes, she does still look beautiful, but it is clear that time has passed. She's not a vampire. And they're probably going to have to come up with something not only for Darla, but for James and for David as well. That's why a lot of people would prefer, maybe you just don't bring those vampires back. And the only out you really have for people to believe when it comes to James and David is maybe one of them Shanshu'd. Darla was an integral part of the Buffy universe, not only on Buffy, but way more in the Angel show. But her time, I believe, has passed. If they can bring her back voice only, I would be down for that. Bring her back voice only, or maybe a one-off flashback where you use de-aging technology and that's it. I don't want to see Darla back over and over again with de-aging technology, because sometimes that stuff is hit or miss, and I don't want to be taken out of the experience. But I know also that technology has come a long way, and who knows, it could end up looking like Samuel L. Jackson in Captain Marvel, which I still think right now is one of the best usage of de-aging technology. But we'll see what comes of that. Do you want to see Julie Benz back as Darla in the Buffy sequel series? Let me know why not down in the comment section below. Last thing we're going to talk about here is going to be the Conjuring Universe. So the Hollywood Reporter had an interview with the New Line Cinema boss, who decided to tease what is on the horizon potentially after The Conjuring Last Rites drops later this year. So in response to what's next for the Conjuring Universe, that was like the gist of the question, they said it's testing in reference to the Conjuring Last Rites. They stated it's testing through the roof, and we're only at the director's cut, the 10-week part of the movie where you're normally very, very scared about the status of your film. We're very early in the process, have very preliminary visual effects, but it's already through the roof. So while this is the last of what we will call phase 1, we are hopeful that we can make more. Now, they're talking about a phase 2. We didn't even know we were in a phase 1. Shout out to you once again, Juden. You are absolutely correct. 2013 to 2025, that's one hell of a stretch of a phase 1. Obviously, they're just trying to eat the MCU's nachos here. But a phase 2 of the Conjuring Universe, that sounds I thought you were already doing a phase 2, honestly. I thought, even though it wasn't announced, the fact that you were spinning off and doing all these other movies, I just assumed that you were in different phases with this thing. You didn't have to announce it. But what do you guys think about The Conjuring going into phase 2? What does phase 2 look like to you? Obviously, the easiest answer here is going to be that TV show. We still haven't gotten many updates on the TV show. So phase 2 of The Conjuring Universe right now looks to me like they're going to focus on that TV show, possibly revive Annabelle, who's supposed to be making a big comeback in The Last Rites. That's all I will say with you. But let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section below. If you haven't already, of course, make sure you subscribe, turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. In the description, I have links to all my social media accounts. I am on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can message me there, of course. Let me know if there's any movies, news, or reviews you'd like me to cover in the future. And with all that in mind, guys, I will see you in the next video.